Well, greetings, race fans and deviants, and my name is Webbo here to take you through the GT Pro World Cup season 4.1. We're in Suzuka in the fabulous Japanese locale for the next round of our championship, and hopefully you are ready to enjoy some absolutely fantastic racing. Our championship standings: Jun Kai leads the championship at the moment. Rocking 46 total points overall, with Nismo on 33, and Don't Need Time in third place on 29. Although on overall scores, Zen is ahead on 32 himself, but we drop a score in this championship, this 7-round championship. Next up, the Teams Championship overall. Team Chameleon lead on 93 from Universal's 69. Cannonball have 66, and then we have Karate Tortoises on 67, Amazon also on 66, Team America on 61, and at the back, at the moment at least, Team Pike Fitness. That's how things stand in the GTDPro. Welcome if you're just joining us. We're about to get underway for the race. Let's take you through the results of qualifying, though, first of all, and give me a thumbs up for a sound check if you wouldn't mind at all. That'd be fantastic as well to see. But here we have the safety car driver, Arcane, who was at the back. We have Preston in 14th position with Mercury across the way in 13th. And do you know what I think I'm going to do? Is I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here so that we can get a full set of our liveries, because we don't want to be doing without liveries, do we? Let's give it our best. Comacopa, thanks so much for that. I know it's early morning over in the US right now, but I figured it's probably better to do this here than and now than to do it at a later point, as I did before. So I did a replay earlier on and for the GTD, and not a lot of people actually tuned in to watch it yet. So that has been a slightly disappointing result of the experiment there. Let me know what you think anyway of the new presentation as well. And for some reason, Gran Turismo doesn't want to load up for me, so that's just fabulous. So let's have a look at what we've got coming up. Let's wait for this. 9:30 is good, says Comacopa. Good stuff. I know you've had a very busy week racing, and it's good to see. It's not going to happen. Hi. You know what this is, right? This is a full-on game reset situation. Right. Okay. Well, bear with me. I'm doing my best to not overlap with racing that happens in just over an hour's time for Deviant. What I will do is just I'll turn this visual off, and we will do a game reset here. My apologies, folks. That absolutely sucks, but you can hear me at least, which is something. Will be up and running for you very shortly. It gives all the late stragglers a chance to show up as well for me, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's to do with deleting the temporary after I'd loaded up the showcase or not, but we'll get there. We will be on for you any moment. I hope everybody's keeping well. Let me know breakfast plans at the moment. I was assuming coffee and pancakes, but yeah, I could well be absolutely dead wrong on that for everybody in the US today. Okay, we will try our level best now to get ourselves into this nice and smoothly. Do. Okay, hopefully that should now start loading up, and I won't keep everybody waiting any longer. If the liveries don't come, I've given it my best, so hopefully all is well. If you prefer Deviant underneath the track map or in the middle, you can let me know on that one as well. But I thought it might be nice to showcase the league here, and we will get ourselves started for you as this loads up. And we'll take you through those qualifying positions. I should have finished off reading up the championship. Now, I will just check. Do I need to increase? No, it's sunrise, isn't it? That's right. Okay, let's sort that one out. Okay, so back to qualifying and our positions then for qualifying. We have Preston in 14th place. Arcane is our safety car driver. We have Mercury sitting in 13th place. Chaotica down in 12th, starting there on the right-hand side of the grid with Floody in 11th. Comacopa is in 10th position with Camzilla in that 9th place. Slightly split livery, it seems there, and looking good to get going. Izzy sits in 8th position with Berman in 7th on the left in the Pike Fitness. Next up, we have Glovas in P6, Zen in P5 in the Twitch colour screen today. Facia in 4th position with Larry in 3rd. We have Don't Need Time in 2nd and Nismo in his somewhat traditional lead position then on the grid. And we will get you your race info to display as well, and we'll be underway for you. Hope everybody's ready for some racing action, and we'll be as Junkai's saying, repping Team Universal, but not here in the race, sadly. So not defending his lead in the championship. 1 hour of racing awaits us, and we are ready to get underway with Nismo on pole and Don't Need Time alongside. The lights are on. It's darkness to start this sunrise round of Suzuka, and it's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Team Karate Tortoises are well beautifully from 1st and 3rd position, but it's Zen moving up into 3rd place already and trying to find a little bit of room in the on the racetrack. Nismo screams into the lead. Zen follows him. We've got an outside runner who has slipped outside of the turn 1 and 2, but it's Zen picking up the positions early doors. Glovas in 5th. Facia in 6th with Izzy 7th, Berman in 8th, Floody in 9th, Mercury in 10th, and Chaotica, Comacopa and Preston complete the run. Preston down, who looked to be the one on the outside run as Arcane picks up the pace then in the safety car. It's Camzilla who's dropped all the way down to 14th position, sadly, but Nismo leads us away for the Karate Tortoises as Don't Need Time wiggles his way into Degna 1, and the cars file through. No manoeuvres coming in the top 13 at least of the grid as they head down towards the hairpin for the first time, and the engine's notes are screaming, and they run and trying to find some grip down into this tricky and slippery long apex left-hand hairpin, and then climbing back up the hill. And Izzy rocking the new livery here for the team, and we'll talk liveries very shortly, but P6 for Glovas. Facia fighting to hold on to P6 at the moment as Izzy drops down the inside into Spoon 1 and Facia runs wide. That is the Jaws music was playing, but it was for himself here in the Team Universal Porsche, and dropping all the way down into P13. Camzilla then still at the back. Arcane managed to pick up the positions early doors, and it's Zen who is on the hard tyres, already chasing down Don't Need Time. Zen running super wide through 130R and hitting the barrier. And that is the undoing of a fantastic lap 1, but he's waiting patiently for the rest of the field to go through before he can get underway. And there they all go through. Arcane will just make sure that he's okay. And Zen, unfortunately, from 3rd position, crashing out through 130R, and that was just coming back onto the racetrack, and a slow starting Don't Need Time has really picked up the pace here. Unfortunately, his Poke Fitness logo is somewhat invisible on the Team Chameleon Genesis livery there on car number 26. Looks fantastic though, that hologram effect. I love to see it as Nismo then in the lead on the hard tyres. Don't Need Time now has got those mediums up and running, and we are already seeing plenty of action out there on track. No spoilers today in the live chat, of course, please. But if you need me to check to be keeping an eye on a particular driver on a particular lap, do let me know. But don't tell me why or what happens. Of course, S. Berman rumbles through. Degner 1 drops the speed once again through Degner 2, and it's Larry who's actually dropped back in the order and on the medium tyres as well, down to 6th position. I don't have the safety car lap either. That's going to be a bit of a mystery to me. As they run into the Kobayashi hairpin, as I like to call it. It's not an official name, but I feel like he made that very famous indeed. Zen has had to pit early on to fix the damage heading into the barrier, and he's come out, I think. Has he fixed that damage, or is this literally just how long and far down the order he ended up as he patiently waited for the rest of the grid to come through? I think by the look of the tyre wear, he hasn't actually pitted at all. So this is don't need time. In P2, Zen with a massive job to do, and I'll keep an eye on him and his progress through the field or otherwise. This is the Team Chameleon Genesis, don't forget, not the Team Pike Fitness. And the Team Chameleon hiding in plain sight here, and don't need time. Having a good run initially, and we get the sunrise effect as the pink skies start to show through the clouds. Nismo leads us down the start-finish straight for the start of lap 3. It's don't need time in second. Glovas is in 4th, and Izzy in that. Glovas in 3rd. Izzy in 4th position in the Team Cannonball McLaren. S. Berman rumbling through in the beautifully aggressive Lexus, and a bit of a slide going through out of turn 2. It's low grip out there on a cold track surface, and the drivers are trying to get their tyres bedded in. We're expecting a poor run here, frankly, from the Vipers. This is not a track for the Vipers that's going to suit them at all. The polar opposite of something like Daytona. This is a high downforce requiring and high traction requiring circuit, and the Vipers are going to struggle. Floody, you can see, difficult to get the front end into the corners. The Ferrari should be on song running through here as well, and certainly the front end of that Ferrari driven by Chaotica is performing a little bit better there for Team Amazon. And Comacopa almost running straight into the back of Chaotica, but managing to avoid with a cutback move. There comes Comacopa, turning what was potentially a race-ending contact into an attack here. This is on board with Comacopa then. Remember, he's driving in the VR system, as is Izzy, and Chaotica leaving the door open into Spoon 1, but Comacopa not going for the move just yet. Behind Comacopa, there's a nice little gap, so he can focus on his exits out of the corner and try and catch the slipstream as he runs now on the hard tyres. Unfortunately, Chaotica on the hard tyres also, and has lost a little bit of, has gained a little bit of time here. In comparison to him, it's not a straightforward run through 130R. It is a genuine corner for our drivers, 130R for these GT3 cars, because in a Formula car they are almost certainly going to be flat out. But here in the GT3s, you do need a lift, possibly even a downshift, but a personal best lap then so far for Chaotica, as he just managed to avoid slipping down a position from the surging Comacopa. Preston is in 11th, Kamzilla and Fassia following him in close proximity, and Zen is focusing on trying to catch the train of cars. He'll be grateful that we have a safety car. In fact, if we did have randomized safety cars, it possibly could have been a cause for a safety car to be brought out, that lap 1 incident. Nismo is struggling. Don't Need Time has passed Nismo some time ago for the lead of the race, and Nismo on the hard tyres is now settling into his hard tyre stint here, upping the pace gradually, Nismo in the BMW, but Don't Need Time has got ahead at this early stage of the race. I think possibly a change to the livery slightly there. The Turtle Wax, I wonder if Turtle Wax haven't paid the bills to have the door stickers fully fleshed out in brand colours, because they've gone blue. There, the Turtle Wax on the side, unless someone has had a little issue. Looked like the tail was starting to kick out there for Nismo on these hard tyres, and he's starting to wear the fronts more than the rears, it seems, early on. So, so far, so good for Nismo, but he has dropped a position. He won't be too panicked about it. I imagine he's able to track that Don't Need Time is on the medium tyres, who have a good run for a few laps. And then, of course, those mediums will start to wear out. I'm picking up a possible hint here that the safety car lap was longer. As Comacopa said, it wasn't permanent damage on the car. So he has, or at least it wasn't damage that had to be pitted to repair. So it is, it's managed to be a temporary situation then for Zen. He lost the car. He did hit the nose into the barrier, but potentially it scrubbed off a little bit of speed before the actual contact. Glovas chasing down Nismo then for that second position. Glovas also on the medium tyres as his teammate is ahead. That's the Chameleon teammate with the black stripe down the front, which indicates they are racing the Genesis cars, which, as I've mentioned before, is kind of defeating the point of having the Chameleon liveries, because the that black stripe that can't take the livery wrap on it is causing us to not be fooled by in any stretch. Izzy in fourth place, holding on at the moment, but I think the main battle going on right now is Glovas, and he's just getting a little bit of traction oversteer coming out of the hairpin. So Glovas trying to follow as close as possible here. Nismo doing enough at the moment, but just getting the tail out, going through spoon 2. That's going to hurt his traction. And look at this run then from Glovas. As we pass Nismo, we'll be turning to our right as the camera points. Maybe he might have got a little bit of netcode bump there from Nismo, but managed to get the move done and onto P2 then for Glovas with a good start and well away then from the spoon 2 corner in comparison to Nismo, who kind of had an unforced error coming through there. Possibly still slight disadvantage on traction with the hard tyre, but he is going through those hard tyres at a fair rate of knots with the heavy fuel load at the moment. And now Izzy, the next to try and pick up a position. Izzy with a lot more grip through turn 2 in that McLaren. Izzy chasing down Nismo and almost having to queue behind him here through the S's. Let's see, it's a story of Nismo going backwards at this first stint of the race. But the three drivers who have either passed or are a threat to him are all on the medium tyres. Of course, Nismo will be able to use those mediums later on. There may be a tyre offset, maybe a one, maybe a two-stop race. Sorry, a two or a three-stop race potentially here. But as I said, I don't know the safety car lap, so difficult to say. Glovas has the fastest lap at the moment in that Genesis, which has been working very well as we run through the order. And you can see we've got Chaotica just fighting off Comacopa still. Comacopa very much on the back diffuser. Well, there is only one diffuser, there isn't a back or a front diffuser. And this is the Team Universal Porsche. And this is looking threatening now from Comacopa. A little bump into spoon 1. I don't think Comacopa will take advantage of that, but that does help Camzilla catch this pair now. Comacopa, very fair racer, slipping out onto the four wheels onto the curb or run off on the way out of spoon 2. And now having to defend slightly from Camzilla. Hint of either a flash of the lights or a light reflection happening on the approach into 130R. Down we go into the Casio Triangle chicane, which isn't the official last curve, because the official last curve is called last curve. Coming out of that corner right now as we do, and Comacopa then in that 10th position has lost ground to Chaotica. Comacopa on the hard tyres, Camzilla on the hard tyres also, and finding some pace at this stage in the Viper, the ill-favoured Viper for this race particularly. I see BWT, water treatment company, have sponsored Jaws, so that's very appropriate today for Team Universal. Don't need time. Is running nicely. The 203.2, his last lap out there. As Glovas is running then in second place and has very much put a gap out on Nismo, who holds on to third. Izzy having to settle into Nismo's pace here, with S. Berman catching quite rapidly behind. That is Izzy there in the McLaren for Team Cannonball, who randomly today are sponsored by Dragon Ball Z for round 4 of the championship. I don't know if that will remain the same situation for the rest of the season, or that is a special Japanese sponsor for the crowd today. Izzy hanging on then, and S. Berman. A nice steady gap between the three drivers at this stage. Izzy doesn't look like those medium tyres are working to quite the same extent as Nismo's hards this stage. Nismo operating on a 203.9, Izzy a 203.6 last lap. So he is catching slightly, and he just pulls the nose out to get some clear air on that splitter before heading into 130R. That has cost him time though, and now he goes defensive because S. Berman is fully alongside into the Casio Triangle, but he's much earlier on the brakes is S. Berman, concentrating on his exit out of the next corner, but it hasn't worked out, picking up some dirty air coming through last curve, and S. Berman losing out in the traction race on the way out of the next corner. Looking out the back window through the reflection through this now daytime conditions, and you can just about see Larry in the BMW. It looks like the BMW not performing particularly nicely. Conor Coper saying, I found it very hard to overtake as I didn't have great straight line speed. Struggled the whole race to overtake. Thank you for the info. Good to read that from you, as S. Berman is here. And Izzy is looking close and fairly threatening here, with a purple first sector for Izzy on lap 8. Looks like those medium tyres still have plenty of grip for him. A reminder, this is the GTDPro. There is the GTD race still to watch on the channel. I reversed the order this week because I'm doing this via replay. And the GTD was the first one to be shared with me. This is Izzy then through the hairpin and looking for that first pit stop. We are 1/4 distance complete, so we're waiting to see when the safety car will emerge from the pit lane. Arcane is keeping an eye on the race, I'm sure, and listening into the whole race radio throughout the course of today. Larry in P6 chasing down Berman, and then Izzy is getting closer than he's been for some time now, the 182. Hoping that Dragon Ball Z powers him forwards. Don't need time, our leader is in the pits, and Izzy pits as well. So Nismo is promoted to second, Glovas to first, and Larry up to 4th position now, as Glovas in the Team Pike Fitness medium tyre shod Genesis is trying to eke out one more good hot lap out of these tyres and try to defend from a potential undercut coming from the former leader. Don't need time, who's been having quite the season so far. Nismo, our sole Dutchman, is hoping to pick up some good points today, I think, and kickstart his championship campaign. It's been a quieter start to season 4.1 than the previous season. S. Berman in 3rd, Larry in 4th. Big gaps now as the medium runners have pitted, with the exception of Glovas. This is Mercury. Nothing special from Team Amazon today in terms of the livery on this McLaren, at least. And Mercury's going faster than he's been before, as the fuel is wearing off, and he's got good tyres still, and good grip left, track in good condition for him. And there is Komakopa, unfortunately, just cut to him as we get throttle oversteer coming out of the hairpin. Very easily done on this Porsche rear engine, of course, and it's once it starts to let go on you, it really does let go quickly. Unfortunately, Komakopa then losing ground to Mercury and Camzilla, given a little bit of hope. Camzilla and Floody running 7th and 8th in the Fanatec sponsored Team America with the new Stealthy Snake livery, the matte grey and black approach, trying to sneak their way through this race under the radar. Chaotica is riding 9th. Glovas has now pitted. That's the other McLaren then of Chaotica. Very different livery from him. We'll have a close look at that shortly, as Fassiar has dropped to 10th position, still on those hard tyres, got plenty of fuel left on the car, waiting on that safety car still. And Zen now pits from 11th position, and he had managed to pass Preston at least, and had caught up to several of our previous drivers. We've got Don't Need Time, former leader of the race, now hoping to have undercut the drivers currently in the pit lane or pitting soon. Nismo has passed by the pit lane and is performing a tyre whispering miracle, holding on to that P1 currently. I do expect, though, he will be heading into the pit lane possibly this lap to come. Don't Need Time, he will be a little bit impatient to pass the car in front. That's Preston. They're a little bit out of position there, Preston, yet to pit. Of course, Don't Need Time out on new hard tyres. It's not going to help with the undercut. And he's anticipating understeer and possibly not quite getting the understeer that he was expecting running through. Familiar sound of the Porsche. If you've been watching any of Komakopa's daily race streams this week, he's been riding in this car all week at the dreaded Dragon Trail. And I hope everyone is supporting Komakopa's new venture on YouTube. Komakopa VR is the channel, and Don't Need Time in that P7. Former leader of the race is hoping to manage to get the nod past Nismo. Let's see, where is Nismo? Virtually no fuel remaining on the car as he goes through the Casio triangle. Surely he's going to turn right into the pits, and he does indeed. And someone in the chat is going to say, "Don't call me Shirley." S. Berman pits as well, off the hard tyre, as does Larry. So everybody on their way in now who hasn't yet pitted. Komakopa, I imagine, and he does indeed pit now. This is Fassiar in the Porsche, and he stays out. So he has been saving a lot of fuel this stint. Might be waiting till after the safety car potentially, but it does look like this is the pitting lap here at the moment. Into the pits comes Preston. Don't Need Time goes by, and will he perform the undercut on Nismo? Well, he's certainly got past at the moment. So yeah, I expect that is indeed what's happened. There is perhaps Nismo just exiting the pits. That is a huge undercut from Don't Need Time as he streaks through turn 2. I don't quite see where it runs, but Nismo has overfueled, I think, in comparison to the cars in between. So Glovas has shorter fuel than Nismo and got the jump, but Izzy is shortest fueled of anybody here in the McLaren and has pulled out the pit lane into what is P3, net P2 at the moment on hard tyres, and has managed to exit nicely with a decent amount of fuel on board. So Izzy moving forward as well. Nismo having a bit of a struggle, it has to say, in this first portion of the race, this first third of our race so far, and then struggling with the medium tyre warm-up phase through Degner 2. This is Nismo in that P5, qualified on pole, and has been heading backwards ever since. The race may well still come to him though, and we wait to see when that blue triangle in the pit lane starts to move. We'll know that it's safety car time for everybody. A nice busy racetrack here in the current fight for the final place on the podium, but Fassiart is the long-standing patient waiter there for the pit lane, and he's been just eking out the fuel in the Porsche while in traffic, trying to get that extra lap or two. Nismo catching Glovas there with top speed and almost nibbling away at the rear of the car. Nismo moving around a little bit there. That's possibly transatlantic lag among his American racing rivals. Glovas comes through, settles in. Fassiart has pitted, so we have a more realistic looking grid here. This is Nismo going for the move, but Glovas buying none of that at all and closing the door. And Nismo will have to follow him through. Glovas now on the hard tyres. Nismo in the opposite situation, on the mediums now, and looking to try and make that that pass. But he's filled the tank full of fuel on the medium tyres, which I don't think will do a full tank's worth of run. So he's definitely going to be taking some pain here, Nismo, as he runs out very wide through the S's before turning into the Dunlop corner, the final left-hander of those S's, and loses ground as a result. It's not working out for Nismo this race so far, and I don't think it's really helping Larry either. The BMW looking like a real handful for a fantastic driver pairing, frankly. Down into the hairpin, Berman stuck on the outside, going for the cutback here, but if the cutback rarely works out of the hairpin because it is very, very low grip on the inside line on the exit of that hairpin. You really want to be on the outside to get the traction. Mercury has done exactly that, and now Berman turns attack into defence, staring in the mirrors on the way into Spoon. And Mercury, with a very good front end Ferrari, is in handling rather than necessarily the livery particularly, but it's not an ugly livery by any stretch. This is Mercury then, with good exit out of Spoon 2, has the inside line heading into 130R and completes the move. Berman just yielding slightly there, doesn't want to get involved in a run. And again, Mercury with the same issue that befell Zen earlier on, kicks out one of the braking marker boards, and his rivals aren't going to particularly thank him for that, because that's one of the quite important braking marker boards on the approach into the Casio Triangle. Nismo in P3 with a defensive move coming from Glovas this time on the approach to the corner, and that was Izzy pitting out of provisional second position. Don't Need Time leads us by a very good margin at the moment, but remember, he was the first to stop off the medium tyres, and we'll have to run those hards long, and are we hoping, and maybe even communicating to his teammate here in the Chameleon Genesis, that he could really do with Glovas holding up Nismo. Glovas has his own race to run, but if this is the period of the race where the win is at stake, then they will communicate to each other. But with the safety car still to come, the gap is immaterial, P1 to P3 as it currently stands. Berman has some work to do before he can recatch this battle. Again, Glovas going defensive on Nismo, and we will just join Nismo on board and see the difference between a medium tyre shod BMW and a hard tyre shod Genesis at this stage. Running and looking into Spoon 1, which is the left-hander here. Getting very, very close indeed. The downshifts sound very similar to the Porsche actually here in the BMW. No concern from the Lexus of Berman from the rear here. We'll have to just dip out of the throttle. Do we downshift? Oh, very, very clumsy from Nismo, unfortunately. And he doesn't take the position, I think. He'll try and go around the outside on the way into the Casio Triangle. Can you argue, perhaps, that was slightly unfair of an overtake? Did he get an advantage coming through here? Glovas was very slow, hit the brakes, and I think very little Nismo could do about that one. He didn't make the overtake there. but he did do it on the brakes, going down and around the Casio triangle, aiming for that second apex, leaving just enough space on the way out of last curve, and then out on the marbles on the exit of the next corner. This is super, super close between the two. He's slowed right down, has Nismo, and now he's got Berman right behind him. So I can't get that excited with my voice at the moment. I'm going to take a drink in a second and just wait to see if this develops into anything between these two. Excuse me. I thought my voice was improving, but when they start racing like that, I find out that it's not. So, is that the safety car? Has that come out? Does that explain why? Yes, indeed, it does explain why suddenly Nismo had slowed and then everybody had to slow behind him. I was a little bit slow on the uptake there, watching the racing action and missing the all-important moment there for the change of race conditions. So we go into our safety car period, and I get to have a really close look at these liveries. I mean, no points for originality from Chameleon. You can just about see the Chameleon written on the rear quarter of the cars, but they are posing as Team Pike Fitness. Then we have the reddy orange colour scheme of the same team. This hasn't changed particularly, although I do think the turtle wax silhouette has changed recently here for the Karate Tortoises, but we need some special updates. This was a good opportunity with the I know that they're from Japan, surely, the Karate Tortoises, or are they actually from China? I wonder. But anyway, we have then the Pike Fitness Lexus, very similar, very familiar logo, and I am appealing to the Pike Fitness team to up their game a little bit here of Berman. Amazon Prime, we've seen before in the Ferrari for Team Amazon. And we discussed earlier this matte grey finish for Floody. It's slightly, subtly different. This is a fully matte grey with stickers over of Team America. And then there's the proper turtle wax logo on the side of the Karate Tortoises RAF version. Now this one is the special for Universal Studios. This is an ET with the bike, the moon, and the character of ET on the side from Universal. Continuing to represent those great movies from Universal Studios, and a little bit of Webbo stickers on the front there. Thank you very much for that. Then we've got a kind of black fade version for Camzilla here of the Team America. Again, very nice, but no Webbo sticker. Yes, there's a Webbo sticker on the nose. Very, very nice indeed. One of our Dragon Ball Z Fanatec liveries here for Team Cannonball. Team Dragon Ball, perhaps, for this race. A rename should be in order, really. And I don't know enough about Dragon Ball Z to know what character or dragon. Are there even dragons? I'm assuming there are dragons. This represents, or if it's just a colour scheme inspired by. The black nose, purple fade Twitch version of Zen's Ferrari here for the Amazon team. Always an enjoyable one to look at, but could do with a little Japanese special edition perhaps. Then the Jaws. I do like this one. This is probably my pick of the day, this Jaws livery. I like the solution for trying to create the blue fade and the sea effect. Yeah, very smart, very nice from Team Universal. This is then much more Japanese for Team Cannonball, Team Dragon Ball. Not convinced about the hood. I'm not sure that goes with the colour scheme, but that's just me being a stickler. I do appreciate the new livery, definitely. And then of course the red edition of the Pike Fitness with the black accents on Preston's car. Arcane leads us in the safety car, and it's as good a time as any to perhaps skip some safety car period now that we've done a full livery reveal. Let's head forward. With replays, we can often end up with losing track of our time. So we come on into the pit lane for our safety car. We will go green as soon as the leader crosses the start-finish line, and we will have 26 minutes remaining of our hour. And we hit the reset button and we go green as Don't Need Time leads them away from teammate Glovas, and the pair of chameleon drivers are away very nicely and very close to one another. Don't Need Time slightly more tyre worn here. From Glovas as Nismo washes out, gets a little bit too close through turn one, and struggles in the BMW to stay in the wheel tracks, despite the fact that he's got those medium tyres. The hards will take a little bit longer to warm up for the drivers, but they are sufficiently into their tyre wear phase to be able to make the move. S. Berman is in fourth. We have Mercury in fifth position and chasing down S. Berman. Mercury also on those medium tyres, as is Berman and Nismo in a line. We've got Glovas, though, holding on to second for the time being. Those Genesis, those Genesi, I think Genesi would be correct, plural. A brace of Genesi are holding on to the top two positions at this stage, and down into the hairpin we go, as we got Larry down there in seventh position, Comacopa in eighth place, and still holding off the advances of Camzilla, and it's very, very busy further back as we run through the full order. Preston has caught the back of the run as well. I should keep an eye on Zen, because I expect him to be picking up the places. The Ferrari should be a good car through here, but unfortunately, as I say that, Mercury runs wide through. Spoon 1 opens the door, and through goes Floody. Through, presumably, will go Larry as well, and Comacopa is queuing up. He'll try and get the slipstream off the inside running car here to try and get through the next 130R. Let's see what this looks like. This is Larry. He's got the inside line going into the corner. Mercury stamps on the brakes. Comacopa has to be very, very cautious going in. He doesn't want to put two wheels onto the gravel as Larry takes the middle lane going through the corner. And bizarrely enough, they exit the corner as they entered it, that sector, as Mercury held on. Larry followed him through, and Comacopa could do nothing to hold him off. On board then with Comacopa. Fairly grainy rear view camera image there with the sun reflecting over the top of it. But of course, running in the VR, we'll be able to use both wing mirrors accurately. Unfortunately, the hands really getting in the way. Although again, with VR, you kind of peer around your hands quite naturally. From a fixed flat screen cockpit view, those hands do tend to get in the way. Riding with the Apex cam then as we head into Degner 1. A Porsche strong on the brakes, perhaps giving up a little bit of speed on the traction on the way out. Those medium tyres though doing well, and Larry holding on to that middle lane once again as we go into the hairpin. Comacopa tries to cut back, as we talked about earlier. Not necessarily a good way to tries to navigate and negotiate some room on the outside. Can't find his way through. Larry's kept his Daytona stickers, I see, on the car there. And Comacopa's hazard lights are still blinking. Larry doing enough at the moment to hold off Comacopa, who's got to be careful because he can see Camzilla in his mirrors, and Zen is making moves as well. Nismo has passed Glovas. I do want to try and catch that one. Let's see what happened. How did Nismo pass Glovas? That should be important, I feel. No, we are going quite a way back before we can find Nismo in P3. It was almost a lap ago. There it is, down into the Casio Triangle, I think, and it was done on the brakes into the Casio Triangle. So here he is in second place now, and finally starting to move forward in our race, using those medium tyres versus the hard tyres on Glovas and Don't Need Time. And as I mentioned before, the race now coming to Nismo should be able to run hard, medium, and I think mediums for a two-stopper. And wanting the field spread to increase a little bit now. Make sure. Ricky's saying, konnichiwa. Yes, indeed, we are back in Suzuka. We kind of stayed here for Deviant. I took a brief sojourn yesterday. Brief 4 or 5 hour flight down to Bathurst for a race last night. And caught the red eye to get back to Suzuka for the next round of our GTDPro. Nismo pushing hard now. He's definitely got a good tyre advantage. But of course, every lap, every corner he takes that he can't get past is a incremental decrease in that advantage he's got. S. Berman also, as I mentioned before, on the medium tyres at this phase, and the Genesai are struggling to hold on to their first and third positions now, first and second as they were prior to the restart. It's lap 17. It's minute 37 of the 60. And Nismo all over the back of Don't Need Time. Picking up that slipstream, getting the grip through 130R. Tyre advantage really helping here on the way through. As Glovas is defensive going into the Casio triangle, very greedy on the apex, may even pick up a penalty for that apex cut, and screaming through the next few corners. It hasn't helped him as S. Berman is still hot on his tail, but Nismo is fully alongside, not quite, heading in towards turn one. Is he enough of the car overlap to stop the door being closed? I think they came to contact there on the way through the corner, and it's happening behind this pair as well, as Glovas holding on against Berman. But Nismo sneaking ahead then into the lead of the race from Don't Need Time. And I want to see if they actually made contact going into the corner. Let's view this from the chase cam and see if there remains daylight between the two. Whoa! That was as close as you like. And super close between them. They eventually made the lightest of touches heading into turn 2, but Nismo sneaking ahead just about of Don't Need Time, and I think the tyre advantage now heading through the S's is going to help him to manoeuvre himself forward. Floody doing well in the ill-favoured run here for the Team America Dodge Viper. I don't know the significance of the W on the front and side and rear of the car. Someone can help me with why that W has appeared on his car. So yeah, let me know if you know, because I think that's new. I haven't spotted that one before, or maybe it's just extra noticeable on this new version of the livery. Mercury hounding the back of the Dodge Viper though. I think the Ferrari with better speed underneath it, especially on the medium tyres, but unable to take advantage here. Running P6 right now. Where's the other Amazon car? He's in P9, Zen. Remember, disastrous first lap. Well, it was super successful first 2 sectors and a disastrous final sector of lap 1 for Zen. But he is moving forward bit by bit, hoping to pick up points here for the team. Here he is in the purple Twitch edition with the largest Prancing Horse sticker on the back window, which presumably is fully obscuring his view. And it is a very scarred looking black nose of Zen's car. So the Prancing Horse needing some veterinary care after this race. Trying to use the advantage he's got, but it's just boxed out in a very narrow portion of the track. Here he is, using the slipstream. Both he and Camzilla hoping to try and get the overlap on the way into turns 1 and 2. Izzy, who was much further up the race order earlier on, as Camzilla slips wide out through turn 1. Let's see if he was pushed or fell, so to speak, through here. Here comes Zen. That was contact, and Zen and Izzy get through. So I wonder if the stewards will look at that later on. I think Kamzilla was blocking the progress of Zen legally, but Zen helping himself to a little bump and run, and Izzy profiting there at the misfortune of Kamzilla. And you can see the understeer he is struggling with, still with some dirt on those tyres. And frankly, we had Chaotica going for a gap that really was a move that was never really on. Faciar just breezing on by. And smelling blood in the water here as Kamzilla is all over the shop on the medium tyres, out onto the gravel, and he'll have a real job handling this car. He has to pit now as Komakopa has a Code Brown moment in the cockpit. In fact, having said that, I actually want to see what that felt like for Komakopa as he goes into Degner 1. Can't really see anything. He can see what's about to happen. Is it a hint of an unsafe rejoin from Kamzilla? I think he had enough warning there that was going to happen, but in order to slow into Degner 2 and get the run through. Zen is side by side with Lowry at the moment, and certainly taking no prisoners today, Zen. Does he ever? And getting the overtake done on Lowry and getting a car between himself and Izzy in the McLaren. Ferrari 6th, McLaren 8th. And his teammate Mercury having trouble getting out of Spoon 2. Zen is in his happy place. Mercury very much not on these tyres at the moment. Mercury side by side with Floody. This is Mercury defending 4th position. And through, he'll have to hesitate on the throttle, but the apex belongs to him as Floody goes wide and is allowed 2 cars, possibly even a 3rd car to come through. Floody also in a similar position then on the tyres. Team America headed towards pit road on this run, I think, as he peels in. So does Zen, and he just makes the pit wall. I thought he was about to hit that pit wall on the exit, and I have seen that plenty of times before. Pitting now, great camera angle we just saw there, and Kamzilla a lot more circumspect heading into the corner. This is don't need time. He is in the Genesis. He has pitted from the front of the grid for a final stint, hard tyre run, full tank of fuel, and his teammate Preston has done exactly the same. We will see Nismo in as well very shortly, I imagine. Lap 20 for him. He needs his second and final stop. But has he got the window open for a medium tyre run at the end of this race? I fear not, potentially. The mediums are not hanging on very well at all. And a scratched and bruised BMW, as you expect to see in the in endurance racing. That is Glovas, who has not yet pitted off these hard tyres. Excuse me, I was getting confused between the Chameleons and the Pike Fitness run. We've got some great battling going on here, down for 4th position. S. Berman on his own in that 3rd place at the moment, but side by side go Lowry and Faciar. Izzy has managed to get the move past Lowry as well, who again is struggling in the BMW to hang on to his hard tyres. So a slight difference of strategy between the Karate Tortoises for today. And Izzy with a great run out of Spoon 2. And already getting the nose of the McLaren ahead of Mercury. Mercury struggling on the medium tyres on his in-lap. I fully expect Larry alongside and taking the position as Mercury spins. That is spin number 3 for the Ferrari team out of 130R today, hanging on to those tyres 1 lap too long. Nismo pits from the lead. Glovas likewise. Berman in 3rd, also pitting. This is going to promote Izzy for now at least, but those tyres won't make it to the end for our McLaren team Dragon Ball racer today as Lowry moves forward as well. He might be able to use the mediums at the end of the race. He's still got some tyre and fuel left to run a lap or 2 more. And Glovas waiting to be released from the pit lane. This is Komakopa just pitting in the Porsche, so is Faciar. Pit lane long enough to accommodate everybody. And don't need time again with the undercut. He can just see Nismo coming out of the pit lane in front of him. He can see 2 cars as well in front of him in the pit on the pit exit. He's got warm hard tyres versus Glovas's cold hard tyres, I'm assuming. No, mediums for Glovas. Don't Need Time is going to have a difficult time of it, hanging on to a provisional win, because he's got a teammate with grippier tyres at this phase in front of him and blocking the way on his run through. So Izzy still in the lead, Larry in second, but they still have their pit stops to make. Nismo, by hook or by crook, has found his way back into the net lead of this race. New medium tyres with 14 and a half minutes to go before the white flag is flown to indicate the final lap of our race. And I wonder if he will be able to hang on to those tyres, because that seems like a little bit of a stretch. Berman in the Lexus will probably have an easier time of it than the BMW, and Glovas is in a similar strategy. Don't Need Time might be able to take advantage of that phase towards the end of the race, and everybody agreeing, roughly speaking, on the fuel load required for the end of this one. Fassiar has got the medium tyres on. The Porsche does well on its tyres, but a 3-second penalty, I'm assuming, for pit lane exit infringement, as Izzy and Larry pit off their medium and hard tyres respectively. Larry got down to 4 litres of fuel in the car. Izzy will have less stationary time for the refueling to come, and Zen could pick up a position or two before the end of this race. The Ferrari light on its tyres in comparison to, for example, I would say the BMW, and glinting in the now full sun and under the Ferris wheel at Suzuka. He goes for Team Twitch, Team Amazon. Izzy coming out of the pits then in P6, just behind Zen, and can try and ride Zen's coattails now. Medium tyres for Izzy, slightly fresher than Zen's. Larry out on mediums. Everyone really agreeing that mediums are the way to go for this final stint, so I know nothing. Either everyone's going to have the same pain and problem at the end of the race, or they're all right, and that's, I would say, they're far more likely to all be right. This is Fassiar on a provisional fastest lap here. First sector at least went purple. He's got Floody directly in front of him, which is probably going to stop him from getting the fastest lap overall. It certainly stopped him seeing the apex of Degner 1, clearly enough. So if he can make an overtake into the hairpin, it might still be on for him. Personal best in Sector 2. Oh, late on the brakes, almost colliding with Floody, Kamzilla's teammate, kicking out on the dirt on the exit. Absolutely stretching the width of this track as much as he can, which is where the speed is, of course. Kamzilla down in 11th at the moment. Komakopa, after the pit stop, down into 12th place. I think with this position at the moment, at least, will be quite disappointed. But Mercury, dropping down after 2 spins out of 130R in the Ferrari, is down into 13th place now. Medium tyres, though, to the finish. Here is Preston in the official Team Pike Thickness at the tail of the grid, and he's been having some real trouble these last couple of races. I'll be hoping for a change of fortunes soon enough. Fastest lap, that time out, goes by way of Nismo on a 2:04.59. So he's liking the way the car's handling now in this final stint. He's taken a lot. He's had to be very patient for the car to come good here, and I think it finally has done when it matters most for Nismo. Pretty sizable gaps then between the top 4 at this stage of the race, and Zen, after being dead last, has managed to pick up place after place, and he's hot on the heels here of Don't Need Time, picking up a personal best first sector. So Zen, what could have been had he not had that issue at the very start of our race. P5 right now, and I think he'll be challenging for P4 before the end of our race. We have just over 11 minutes on the clock, and the drivers should all be fueled and tired to the finish. Although I do think, We'll need some tyre saving on these medium runners. Don't Need Time is on the hard tyres, but he would really love to not give up a position here to Zen at this phase of the race. It'll cost him significantly, I think. But you can see the difference in grip levels and exit ability out of spoon 2, which is a very important corner. Of course, every mile an hour you can eke out before hitting the brakes through 130R buys you distance on the track. Late braking, some drivers will be having to change their reference points braking into there, thanks to an earlier deletion of at least one marker board. Beautiful sounding Ferrari passing our camera position. So Nismo leads us on lap 24 ahead of Berman and Glovas. Don't Need Time on screen just ahead of Zen and Izzy. I feel like Izzy wants to get closer to Zen before Zen makes the overtake, as he would love to just follow him through. If Zen can put Don't Need Time offline, that's got to be the aim here as Izzy drifts wide through Dunlop. No drama though. Into Degner 2 they go. Izzy washing out once again, and he'll be worried about Larry now behind him, much more than he'll be worried about taking an opportunity to overtake. Here is Zen. That is the medium tyres doing fantastic traction out of the hairpin. Don't Need Time puts the squeeze on there. He's just about got the tail ahead in order to make that stick. Zen faking to the inside, but that was never on into spoon 1. Might cost him as he exits spoon 2, but I think he'll be able to get down on that power nice and early, and he does so. Don't Need Time drifts across to the middle of the track, maybe to the full left-hand side of the track. Zen tucks in, might just be waiting here to try and make an overtake work into the Casio triangle. Don't Need Time and Zen both clip the apex curb, and that's dangerous as Zen all the way around the outside. Beautiful overtake from Zen. That was brave on the brakes with the medium tyres, and completes a fantastic overtake. And Izzy has a good run, a better run through the Casio triangle and last curve against Don't Need Time. Tucks in underneath. Will he be able to peel across to the inside? He's going to go for it. Is Izzy later on the brakes, but Don't Need Time has enough. Izzy back down the inside into turn 2. That's a rare move and a beautiful one at that from Izzy. Remember, in VR, reduced spatial awareness and mirror usability. Izzy completing a beautiful move. That's probably my move of the day so far into turn 2. He was fully behind through turn 1. In fact, I liked it so much, I want to see that one again. This is Izzy then. Down into turn 2. And leaving enough room and leaving space, and beautifully done then through into turn 2. Nice overtake from Izzy for 5th position, and now he can try and focus on Zen as well. As Zen moves forward, potential podium on the cards here for Zen, which would be miraculous after that first lap issue. Ricky says don't make it too easy for him. Nice. We like a strong pun here on the channel, as you well know. Zen goes through, and nicely done for him. Still no change at the front. Nismo, Berman, Glovas, large gaps, and Zen has some work to do to catch those drivers. Don't Need Time might have some hope towards the end of the race on the hard tyres, but at the moment they are not working for him. Everybody else finishing this race on the mediums, I think. This is Fasyar in the Jaws Team Universal BWT sponsored Porsche. Larry has a half a look here at Don't Need Time. Wow, that was very brave through the apex at 130R from Larry. Not just using the curb, but using the grass on the inside as well. Stamping on the throttle through the last curve. And inch by inch, getting closer and closer to striking distance here. Let's get really close to the car while I say that as well, shall we? As he passes our camera position. And we've got some action happening back here. That's Camzilla and Komakopa. Let's not miss that, anything happening between these two. Komakopa in 13th, challenging Camzilla, who's on the hard tyres. Preston still on the hards at the tail of the field. And just reassuring us that Nismo is still circulating nicely. He's still got the fastest lap of 2 minutes, 0.459. There's Berman in the Pike Fitness Lexus. There's a tiny little Webbo sticker on the roof. I've spotted it. And here is the chameleon driver, Glovas, who is able to get some pace now out there. Nismo has been incredibly strong at the end of the race today. He was certainly having trouble at the start, but trusted the process, trusted the strategy, and it's working out very nicely for the Karate Tortoises team leader in the BMW. Zen and Izzy continue to try and chase down a provisional podium. I think we'll be happy with the result regardless here. And they found a colour coordinating Webocom sticker for the rear of the car. Have Team Dragon Ball today. And then we've got nice close racing here for 6th position. Larry 6th, Don't Need Time 7th, Fassiar 8th. Chaotica even perhaps catching this group, as Fassiar has the grip advantage at the moment. Just a couple of minutes left to go, 2.5 before the white flag flies, and it's do or die now, frankly, if you want to pick up some extra points. Don't need time. Those hard tyres are not going to arrive for him. He needs another handful of laps, I think, to make those tyres work at the end of this stint. Looks like the way to go was mediums when the track is at its best, and you most need the speed. So Fassiar running through. Remember, we've got 2-minute lap times. So we shall see how close we get to, I think it might be 29, might be 30 laps total. Fassiar is all over the back of Don't Need Time. A little touch perhaps there. That didn't help Don't Need Time get out of the corner. And again, I think you'll feel slightly aggrieved. It was fairly inevitable that something was going to happen, and some contact was going to happen there. But Fassiar taking advantage of a small touch through the hairpin, heading into Spoon 1 on the defensive, but should breeze out of Spoon 2 in comparison to Don't Need Time. There's a penalty on Larry's BMW in front. I wonder how many places that will yield for him, if any. Let's see, they will catch him. There he goes into 130R. It was only a small penalty, thankfully. And Don't Need Time holding his breath through that 130R corner on the hard tyres. Everyone's got to use the hard tyres, of course. It's just a matter of when. And it seems like the best strategy was to use them in the first stint, when, if you do suffer any problems, the safety car will help you regain lost track position. Chaotica is in 9th place as we head towards the end of this race. Mercury's down in 10th after his instant-filled race. Komakopa 12th, Camzilla 13th. We still have 14 runners left. as I think Nismo on now the penultimate lap through Degner 1, very wide through Degner 1 exit. I think the mediums are letting go now. He's got a good, solid lead, and he can afford to back off slightly here rather than end up dropping off the tyre cliff. Through into the hairpin we go. No real close battles at the moment. Zen is hanging on to a provisional podium challenge. He'll have a lap and a half left to do it. And we'll see how his tyres are looking. His rears are far worse than Glover's rears. I can give the game away here because the driver's already completed this one. We're doing this replay live, not live. So I'm not giving away any strategy if our drivers are listening in. Into spoon 1 we go. Glovas definitely has a disadvantage. Zen with a disadvantage in rear tyre grip. Nismo has started the final lap of the race. We have not got any lapped runners, but having said that, no, everyone will finish on the lead lap today, which is great, which is what we like to see. And Zen then has 1 lap to strike. I think he'll have to wait until the Casio triangle to make a manoeuvre here potentially, because he's quite far back and he has very little fuel remaining. He's got a lot less fuel than Berman as he goes past. I think Glovas is slowing. They have now crossed the line officially. Nismo wins the race for the Karate Tortoises. S. Berman in 2nd place, Glovas in 3rd, and Zen a close 4th position. Izzy finishes in 5th place. Props to Zen there for a recovery race. Really good to see. Larry in 6th. We have Fassiar settling into 7th place and scoring well, and don't need time unfortunately for the Chameleon team, slipping from pole to 8th. Pole or 2nd, I think, maybe. I can't quite remember. Chaotica in 9th, certainly front row for don't need time. Chaotica in 9th, Mercury in 10th, Copa scored points for 11th. Floody and Camzilla come through in 12th and 13th respectively, and Preston taking his time here to approach the line because he's run out of fuel. So someone give him a nudge. Nismo wins the race here in Suzuka, and we will catch you roughly this time next week. It will be for Saint Croix for round 5 of the GTD and GTDPro race series. Thanks so much everybody for watching. It's been a real pleasure. My apologies for my illness delaying this stream by a week, but it means you don't have long to wait for the next one. Thanks for watching everyone. Thanks for liking on the way out, and we will catch you on the next race day.